Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. I'm here today with the flip through of Nedra, this lovely 1905 antique book that I have made into this journal. This book was written by George Barr McCutcheon, and I just loved it for this beautiful image on the front. It did have a bit of like paper sort of scuffing on it, so I took some gilding wax and just kind of stenciled over it to give it a little more, pretty kind of a feel, but honestly that doesn't really bother me. I think it adds to the charm. I also stenciled with gilding wax on the back, and I've sealed the entire book with a bit of a fun wash and embossing, and I wanted it to look a little bit like weathered paint, like just to kind of give it a bit of a rougher, shabbier kind of feel. I have added lace on the spine, which I've stitched, and there is a gold eyelet there with some fun little ribbons that just kind of complement the color scheme. I added 2 eyelets on the back and 1 on the front, just to make a fun little binding with some vintage. This is actually a silk vintage seam binding. This book has how many signatures? 2, 4, 6, 8, I believe. Yes, 8 signatures. So let's jump into it. Okay, so the end papers that I chose are these pretty little tiny petit fleur kind of end papers. You'll see that there's fabric backing the spine, and I've added a from the library of in a little ink bottle here. There's a pocket here, and I thought it was just a really fun little touch to have everything here just be done in the same paper. So I have a little tag that's been stitched with some red seam binding, just a fun little page. And then we open up the journal, and this is an authentic old cabinet card. And I felt like that would be a nice depiction of Nedra to kind of start the story, and it's been sort of made into a collage pocket with this little floral wreath here. We have some florals at the back, and then this little laminated journal card that I made with one of my own little creatures, and we have some plant material that's been laminated inside there. And then some pretty florals, and this was an image from an old costuming book, and I just thought that that was really pretty, so I fussy cut it. We've got some Edith Holden in the back here, the wood anemone, and a little quote from Wordsworth: "Long as there's a sun that sets, primroses will have their glory. Long as there are violets, they will have a place in story." So much of Edith Holden's nature notes books have all of these marvelous nature kind of quotes. This is a little piece of paper from Inked Paper Art. This is the original book plate of the book with Lady Tennies, and there's that old tissue there, and then Nedra. That is the original book plate. And then the copyright 1905 by Dodd, Mead and Company, published September of 1906. Nope. 5. And then some of my hand-dyed yellow paper. This is from a bird field guide. A wallpaper pocket with a little Helvetia stamp at the bottom. And then this little altered packaging tag. This is some 1980s vintage wrapping paper with a little tulip sticker there. And some stenciling. Another field guide page. This is a piece that I made. It's a double pocket that I made from the materials sent to me by Your Creative Studio, and it's got some shell buttons here, and this little pocket has this little checklist, and then in here I've added this floral postcard that I made. Just a fun little postcard. And some of my dyed paper. This is an original book page from this chapter that says The Inspiration from Nedra. And this is like a wraparound journal card. It says, "Whatever the weather." So that just pops on there with a rusted paper clip. And another pretty floral with butterflies and some pretty birds. And then this little pocket here on these florals with one of my little people from my paper doll collection. This is a page from the costuming book. And then I've taken, this was from an encyclopedia of gardening, and I took all of the N for Nedra, all of the plants. It's a little tip out with some stenciling and some handmade paper behind it. And then we have this belly band here on the costuming paper, and then this envelope. And on back it says, inspiration, the wind in the willows, the wind in the grass, the sun in the clover as fairy folk pass, and it's flying and spying and dancing around, first up in the treetops, then down on the ground. And inside we have a little, this little note card here. And some ledger paper. And some nice florals with this pocket and a little tag. Coffee dyed paper, some stenciling. This is from my Alpine Blossoms Botanical Digital Kit. Some more stenciling and coffee dyed paper. A belly band here. It's been collaged, and inside I've added this laminated journal card that has some bits and bobs that I found inside of the 1920s Alpine Blossom book. I did a video on laminating those, and we stitched some lace here on this pretty paper, and some floral ledger on this side, and another page from the costuming book. And I've made this little kind of gate flip out from these floral bookmarks, and in here a little tag from a Tim Holtz ephemera pack, and more of the costuming book. This is a collaged envelope that I made with a vintage photo and some other fun things, wallpaper. This is my digital botanical kit, Alpine Blossoms. And then this is a little hand-dyed index card with some more florals on top. The back side of that pretty envelope and some stenciling. This is a pretty digital page. This lovely building, church building. This is some 1850s ledger paper that I have done some watercolor swatching. And it's on hand-dyed paper. More of my Alpine Blossoms kit and some stenciling. A little recipe here, apple dumplings and meringue. Just some pretty rosy paper and postal paper. Vintage floral stationery. Some of my hand-dyed paper and a little perfumery label. This is another little pocket that I made in that same kind of gated style, and this is just a old actress. I call these my audience cards because they're like a lovely little person that's like a little audience to your journaling, and you can write on those cards. Some more pretty rose paper, lemon meringue pie, crisscross cherry pie, some stenciling, a little collaged fabric pocket with some nice embroidery from a sari and some book spine. I love the blue with the red stitching. And that's my botanical digital back there, and some tickets that I made. Just a fun little add-in. And some of my dyed paper. This is a little folder that's been clipped onto this pretty forest digital paper, and on this side it's more fall feeling. And yeah, that's the little file folder with writing space inside. It's been inked. Some more stenciling. And this little pocket here, this is a Louisa Heinzel pocket from one of her digitals, and then I've added some organza, and this little It Capilli Imaginarium eye cameo. More of my digital of the 1920 Alpine Blossoms. Then I did this collaged journal card. It has cherry petal tarts in the background. I forget who did this digital, but it's called Magic Paper, and it's just really pretty. And I stitched some peachy lace down the side. And this little pocket's also made with fabric. This is my Eco and Rust printed fabric. And we have this little cigarette card here that was from Happy Mail from my friend Michelle, Shell's Creative Chaos, and then a little label here. And this is a pretty digital paper. And a little collaged tag. This is from a garden book, and some buttons here, and this little girl holding a bouquet of flowers. Another field guide page, coffee dyed paper, and this lovely delicate little doily. Some pretty digital paper. This is from Louisa Heinzel, her butterflies. More of these pretty doily coffee dyed paper, some more woodpeckers, and then we have a little collage pocket here on this pretty digital paper. And this is from a children's book. It's like a little scene with this little girl walking out of this castle with fairies looking onward behind her. It's a little flippy journal card. And then a little postcard pocket. And this is an image from Shabby Dabby Doodah. Just like the florals with the clock. A floral ledger. Some pretty paper, dyed paper. I really like the way that this yellow with pink in the background that I dyed goes with this, you know, pink page with gold and yellow. This is from the costuming book. This pocket here with this little fun tag inside with butterflies. This is from my 1920s Alpine Blossoms kit. Stenciling and lace. Little pocket here, and this is on an original book page from Nedra. This little violet envelope, and inside we have a little journal card. Lots of little florals in this book. I was feeling quite floral with Nedra. Lots of botanicals. Then we have this little girl, this little tuck spot, and then some Edith Holden and Primrose, and a poem from Burns. Now lavrocks wake the merry morn aloft on dewy wing. The merle in his noontide bower makes woodland echoes ring. The mavis wild, with many a note, sings drowsy day to rest. In love and freedom they rejoice, we care nor thrall oppressed. Now blooms the lily on the bank, the primrose down the brae, the hawthorn's budding in the glen, the milk-white is the sleigh. So practically Old English, just quite lovely. This is another original illustration from the book, and the book page. A little collage pocket with some lace, and this little Victorian calling card that's been made into a tea card. Willows with bending branches. Some stenciling. This is from my Alpine Blossoms kit. This is a collaged pocket that I made. It's got a little perfumery label here. This N and these two ends, these are from some mixed media letters that I recently made from some old scrapbooking supplies. This is an original image from the book, and then I clipped this here, added it like a little banner over here, and put this little word snippet that says "Catch Myself Wishing." This set is a little cutout from a book, and on the back I added the paper that said Nedra from the front of the book. This is from the old costuming book. Dyed papers, floral ledger, some pretty marbled paper, stenciled on the back. This is the illustrations page from the original book, and some more of that vintage wrapping paper with stenciling on back. A little steno notebook paper. This is more of my Alpine Blossoms, stenciled on the back. Coffee dyed paper. Just a pretty digital page. This is from Louisa Heinzel's Butterflies. Another lovely little lanterns there, digital page. Coffee dyed paper, stenciling, more of my Alpine Blossoms, more of the steno paper and stenciling. That's the vintage wrapping paper. That's another page from Nedra. More stenciling and lace, marbled paper, floral ledger, a beautiful floral digital, the contents page from the original book, more dyed paper. And then this belly band here on this fun paper that's got some eyelet lace stitched on. This is a page actually made by Nancy from Wishes and Weeds. And this is a 2-table tally card that I coffee dyed. More of that wrapping paper and steno and some more stenciling. More of my alpine blossoms, stenciling and coffee dyed paper. More of the magic paper. This lovely digital, I forget who this is from, but it's just a scan of a pretty old doily. And more of the magic paper, coffee dyed and stenciling. More of my alpine blossoms, steno, stenciling. This little card here is attached to this pocket on this side, and it has this journal card inside. This is from your creative studio, and I just really loved the colors and the themes of this book. More of my hand-dyed paper, a little paper scrap right there, from the first chapter of Nedra. This pretty paper, more ledger, and the vintage wrapping paper, stenciling. This is a little frame pocket on a page from a stamp collecting book. And this is a little cabbage dyed sort of pocket envelope on Botanical, large format encyclopedia. Then I took cork, and this was a botanical image, and I stitched it on. There's so much technique in this particular piece. And then this is coffee dyed paper that I've done some fun collaging on and stitched on some book spine to sort of pull it out, so it's like a little floating fun little pocket with a journal card inside. And then some sort of paper that shows like up close of a ribbon, and stenciling, coffee dyed paper, and a little pocket that's been created with labels and perfumery labels on the magic paper. And I stitched some sari, embroidered sari on this lovely image. This was an actress, and I just love this image from an old Hollywood book. And then this is like a Beatrix Potter kind of collage. I want to say, is this from Crafty Cat maybe? Coffee dyed and magic paper. This little flip down of this pretty little card with some stenciling behind. This is a little tag that you can use as a little page turner on the stamp paper, some stenciling, and then I've ended this journal with the same paper, and you'll see the 2 holes there that I have the seam binding through, and I've signed and dated the journal and added my little Studioloo wax seal there. So that is the end of Nedra, and if you are seeing this journal video, then that means that the journal is up in my Etsy shop, which is linked down below. So thanks for hanging out with me, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye for now.